Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the Tim and Jim Show. We hope you guys are doing okay in this crazy world at the moment with the coronavirus spreading, but we are delighted to be here. We are social distancing ourselves and social media distancing ourselves here on the Tim and Jim Show. But Jim, why don't you take it away and introduce our guest and our topic of the day?
Well, first of all, thank you, Tim. And I hope everybody is washing their hands, even if they're at home. And very excited today to have my friend Dan Jordan, the Deej. He is just a ball of energy. Very excited. Not only are we going to talk about the reason we're calling this show How to Earn Your Fortune After 50 is Dan has worked a lot with people that have gone through job loss with the Roswell United Methodist Church and gives his time for free to help these folks get back on their feet. And so I'm excited for him to give some of the advice that he does to help these people become successful. I got to see him talk, I think it was about 4 weeks ago. It was before I went to San Diego, and he did a presentation, and he's just amazing and looking forward to hearing from him. So Dan, tell us about yourself.
Oh, look at, you know what? There's no better question you could ask me than tell me about yourself. I mean, you got to watch out. I got a microphone and someone saying, go ahead and talk. You may never leave. Really, this is like a nightmare of, sometimes when you go to a wedding and they say, does anybody want to say anything? It's like, but I appreciate the greatest thing about this is that you refer to me as your friend, which is a big news because it's a weird thing. Anybody who's watching knows this. You hit a certain age and it's like you're no longer accepting applications. It's like you've got enough friends and you don't meet people. But this is fairly new that we're getting to know each other, and you find out that it's you could actually, there's enough emotional space in your life to just keep on absorbing more friends. So it's a good deal, and you got something going. And we get to use this new live stream thing here from it's StreamYard, right?
Absolutely.
Is this not the best thing ever?
It is.
Oh my God.
Love it.
And especially with what's going on right now, the people that are good with the type of technology right now just have a marked difference again. So if you're looking for employment, and a lot of times what happens is people will turn 50 and get fired, and not because they've lost any skills, but just because the job that they've been doing so long, they've used up all their value. You could get someone who's 24 for half the price and do the same thing. And that's just the reality of the whole thing. But your skills are still there. But here's an extra skill that you can learn, and then it's the difference maker between just being a normal person who expended all their value, as opposed to someone else who has a skill that a lot of these younger people don't even have because they've never talked on the phone before. They grew up with this. And then you have to get people that see you. So what I do is I do that for businesses. We help businesses grow through building sales teams and getting salespeople with a process that makes them go, and it's been really successful. And I found out that with people, with human beings, every interview is basically a sales call, and people that are lousy in sales don't do nearly as well. So that's what I do. Does that explain it?
I think so. And we want to say hi to Steve Taylor here on Facebook. Thank you. And StreamYard rocks. And thank you for saying that we do as well. That is extremely kind of you. So Tim, do you want to start off with question 1?
Absolutely. Drum roll.
All right.
How to get started as a consultant, perhaps even in these rocky times.
Oh my gosh, it's so much better now. I mean, this is really true. Most people, you call up, you try to present your product, whatever, but you don't really know if they have a problem. So you don't even know if what you can do can solve it. But now for a fact, everybody's got a problem. It's all the same one. We need more customers. We don't know what's going on. We're uncertain about everything. If you could be the certainty in somebody else's life, you don't got to worry about selling. They'll be too busy buying. Gosh, that was a good answer. You should write that one down. Are you getting these things transcribed? Because that's magic right there.
Actually, we do. If you subscribe to the Tim and Jim Show on YouTube, you can get the transcription almost right away, especially if you like to watch transcribed videos. And I'm also, I want to say something for Dan. Dan has a YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to Dan Jordan's YouTube channel. Don't you call yourself something like the Sales Energizer?
The Sales. Well, listen, yes, go on YouTube and you subscribe. It's the greatest thing. Your life will be much better. But even more importantly, you and I have a friend, Chris Stone, who's been producing my new Sales Energizer podcast. And what's cool about it, do you have that thing, Chris, that we could put the screen in front and they could put their camera there? He's going to hook me up with that later. But here, if you subscribe to that, what guaranteed double your income.
Wow.
At some point in your life. I'm not quite sure when, but you give on roll, but you'll love it. It's really good.
Right.
I
want to say hi to our friend Troy. Troy, I think, is in Chicago today, I believe. I know sometimes.
Look at Troy.
Anybody's traveling.
You see?
This is an international show. We get people from all over.
You know, isn't that fun? I found out that I have in the continent of Australia, I have one listener to the podcast. So one day I'll meet the guy.
Is that Tom Hanks by any chance?
Yeah, probably. Is he there now? See,
Sorry, bad joke.
I wouldn't. I don't even know. I'm clueless, and I'll tell you why I'm clueless intentionally, because with this whole illness and virus that's going on, there's so much bad news all over the place, and I literally can't handle it. I was telling people earlier, I walk out of the room on the bad parts of a Disney movie. When the mom dies or something, whenever that happens, I leave. My kids know it too. I'll tell me when it's over, because it's always in the first 10 minutes. Tell me when that part's over, and then I come in. Because I can't handle that stuff. So I've been totally avoiding the news. So I don't know what the heck's going on. And so I have this little mantra that I do, but part of it is, well, I'll give you the whole mantra, and then you'll know. I say, before I go on a sales call, before I get started, before I do anything, I say, I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader. I'm a force for good, force for God. Oh, and so I go on with my little thing. But part of it is I don't watch the news. I make the news. And in this current crisis that we're going through right now, there's two things you can do. You could say, this too shall pass, and wait for something to happen until it passes. Or you could say, this too shall pass. How can I get an edge on everybody else when it does? And that's probably not sitting back. It's probably making a decision to do something forward, maybe to learn a new skill, maybe to make a live cast, maybe to get onto your live cast, maybe to have a podcast, or at the very least, did I tell you to subscribe to my podcast? It's the Sales Energizer. The Sales Energizer.
Yeah.
What was it again? What was it called?
Okay. Yeah,
Sales Energizer.
But hey, Troy, was that good? I bet Troy liked that one too. If he liked the other one, that one was magic.
So
that
Dan,
was the answer to one question. I'll just keep going forever.
No, I love your energy. So we talked about how this is a great time and really, there's never a wrong time to start. And in fact, I think I know Chris and I, when we were at the Podfest meetup in Atlanta a couple months ago, Chris, I think it's Kritmos, I probably butchered his name. He wrote a book called Start Ugly, because too many people want to wait for everything to be perfect, which of course my favorite saying is the P in perfection is poison, because you're never going to get everything perfect. I mean, I don't know if Tim and I go back and watch our first few episodes of the Tim and Jim show so many years ago, but I'm sure they look a lot different than how we do now. And so I think part of it is we have to overcome the fear and move forward. So you start this business. How do you attract your first clients, Dan?
You positioned it properly. How do you attract your first clients instead of how to get them? So that was very good. The first thing is to understand that you are already a consultant. You're already selling your time and your services for their money. If you have a job, that's what you're doing. And what the consulting business is just doing it for several people. I'll tell you a story. I have our consulting practice, Sales Arbiter. where we basically build sales teams and processes and get them growing. So the owner is out of that capacity of being the top salesperson, and the system is in place, and so the business gains its value. So that business got started because I had my partner now, Chris Cruz, and Chris, I got him several jobs. I had a staffing company at one time, and he had come in again. I get him a job. He'd do great. He'd get fired. He'd come back. And so finally, the last time he came back to me, he says, well, it happened again. I said, what's wrong? He goes, I go into these companies, I build them up to a level, by millions to a level. And then they realize they don't need me anymore because the system is there. And so they get rid of me. So I said, man, you're crazy. You got to stop doing this for one company and start doing it for many. And so once he grabbed onto that concept, and once if you're above 50 and or in that range and you're looking for something to do, once you grab onto that concept, then you're no longer a consultant at this point. You turn it into a business, and you say, that's the service that we sell. The service that I sell is I help companies double their value by improving their sales team. Then you start thinking of yourself as a marketer and a salesperson of those services. And I wish I had a whiteboard here, which I don't, which I can go to it. But if you know your message and you know your marketplace, the only thing left for you to do is to contact those people in the right way through that whatever delivery system you choose. But you're a marketer at that point. And so how you get your first customer and without expending all sorts of money is get your message right and know who exactly you're going to, and pick up the darn phone and call them. Hey, Mr. Jones, I was calling to see if you might be interested in selling your business. How's that sound?
Did you say a phone, Dan?
Yeah, I said a phone, an actual telephone. And if you think getting started, doing something like this on video is hard, wait till you try to get someone to pick up the dang phone.
Yeah.
But
I gotta tell this story because this was like mind blowing to me. So Dan has given this free workshop to all these folks that were consultants at this thing, and he tells a guy, just pick a number out of the phone book. He goes, find a liquor store. I kid you not. And the guy actually picked the same liquor store I was going to pick. It was something like the Lucky Lizard or something like that. And Dan calls the guy, or calls the number, right? He doesn't know who he's going to talk to. And and the way he approached it was like, hey, I know this is going to sound really crazy, but I work with guys that like to buy liquor stores, and I was wondering if you'd like to sell your store, right?
It's almost exactly what I said.
And the guy actually was just one of the employees. And instead of it's like, who are you? He's like, well, I'm not the guy that can make the decision, but let me give you his information. Like completely, no resistance whatsoever. And I've seen Dan do this a couple times. And for me, as someone that maybe before, and I'm saying that before was resistant to that idea, the way he approaches it is just amazing. And so you got to listen to his podcast.
Yeah, it's not all that difficult. I use the 7 magic words, which is, hey, I wonder if you could help me. And here, if anybody's going to think about doing this and growing their business in their sales career or even becoming a consultant, you really got to know those words. If you call somebody up and just say, hi, how you doing? They automatically think it's a cold call. They and even if they keep you on the phone, they've got their defenses up. They're like this. They're ready to fight. They're thinking, when is he going to close me? What is he asking for? What do you want? So you got to take that away completely. And the 7 magic words, hey, I wonder if you can help me, just draws them in. And that's what I did with that guy. Hey, what if you can help me? I know this is an odd phone call. I'm calling on behalf of a guy who's looking to buy a liquor store. Wanted to see if you guys might be interested in selling. Now, I knew that he wasn't the owner by the way he answered the phone, but I still gave him the pitch, because if I said, can I speak to the owner? He knows it's a cold call, and so then he puts up the defenses but here, just by asking him a question that I knew he couldn't answer, he has to say, well, I don't know, but you probably want to speak to, to Bill Jacobs over there. And then you get it. If you ask for him, you won't get it. If you don't ask for it, you will. But I knew exactly what I was going to ask. It was a yes or no question. And if he said no to me, I probably wouldn't die. And if he said yes to me, then I got something to go. But the one thing we know for certain is 3 minutes after the phone call, he's completely forgotten about me. You know, so all anxiety that I may have felt before the call is, you know, that completely after it, the only person who has a problem with the call is me, not them. And I will say, and I've made thousands and thousands of cold calls and calling people, and I do it every morning between 7:30 and 8:30 because, you know, that's when the owner's generally at the manufacturing facilities that I'm calling. But even me, who's done this, you know, let's say 1,000,000 times, who knows? The first call is still the hardest. The first call is still, you got to force yourself to do it. You know, you got to push yourself out there, out of your comfort zone every day. You know, a salesperson is unemployed every day. You know, right now we might be billing $20,000 or $30,000 a month with the various clients, but tomorrow they could all leave. And so you got to keep on moving every day. And once you get good with the cold calling, you get much better in your sales presentation in front of other people. So that would be the best way to start.
Dan, do you find that the way technology has changed in regards to call screening and that, is it harder to actually get people to answer the phone? And do you tend to leave a message hoping that they will call back? Because I know that's kind of one of my screeners. Like, if you're not willing to leave a message, I'm not going to call you back.
Oh yeah. Well, it's crazy not to leave a message, but in terms of call screeners, and I don't like to use that word. A lot of people use the word gatekeeper or things like that. But imagine the imagery you have in your head, you know, a call screener or a gatekeeper. You're going to go into that call with a certain type of, you know, attitude that's not welcoming of any. So you change that. I call that person my sales assistant. You know? So,
hey, Dan, would you adjust anything now in terms of, since there's so much uncertainty going on with the coronavirus, would you change anything different in your calls? Anything different in terms of your strategy?
Well, when you're making a presentation, and now there are two sales that are happening here. The first, you know, call is really a cold call. Is not, well. Let me backtrack. You said if I make it harder, is it harder now getting the screener? Understand, cold calling is not for them. Cold calling is not to get their business. Cold calling is for you. Cold calling makes you better. You want to be a better consultant. You want to be a better person, a better salesperson. Be a better person. Be a more skilled person. I do those, you know, 30 or 40 or 50 dials in the morning, not to get business, though I will. I do it to get me on track, to get my voice ready, to warm up, to be the worst thing that could happen if it's you know, you have a call at 11:30 for a potential client or a client, and it's your first call of the day. I mean, you're not ready. The worst thing that can happen is if your dream job interview and it's your first interview. You know, go on a bunch for jobs that you don't want. Practice, rehearse. That's what the best athletes do, and that's what you need to do. So there's two sales that are happening. And the first, the cold call, is really just picture a cold call like a billboard. You know, you drive by in your car, you're going, you know, 80 miles an hour, and there's a sign for Subway, the sandwich shop, and you're not hungry. So what do? You drive by, you know?
Right.
You don't hate them. Those bastards putting up a sign for the nerve of them. What are they doing? Putting up a sign there. These crazy people. Hey, I'm trying to drive and they put a sign, you know, no, you don't care. You don't even think about it. You drive by. Now, unless you drive by and you're hungry, maybe I could do something. So a cold call is, hey, are you hungry? You know, are you going to raise your hand? That's all. You could say yes. You could say no. I'll just dial the next number. I don't care. So that sale is more of a lead generation thing where you're not worried about the thing. So if they don't want to put you through, all right, see you later, potato. There's a million numbers there. What the heck do I care about you? You know? Okay. And so the call is, I wonder if you can help me. And now if they do pass you through and you get the right person, then you got to give a little meat on the bones. And for that, I said, go back to my original thing, talking about the message. The message is not what you can provide, but the outcomes for them.
Right.
My service, what I do with my service, I can help you double the value of your business within 6 months by replacing your sales team with a sales system. And so I'm talking about outcome. All they're thinking is you can double the value of my business. Now, if they're not interested in that, they say, you know what, we really want to do it. We're doing fine. Okay, thank you very much. See you later. Dial the next number.
Right.
And I say dial, but the dial could be a networking meeting. You know, someone asks you in a network meeting, what do you do? Oh, what I do is I help companies double the value of their business within 6 months. How's that sound? Oh, pretty cool. And if they're not interested, they walk away. If they are, they are. What I do is I help companies build their sales processes so they'll be more efficient and earn more money and be more profitable. Oh, really good. And then you move on. But talk about outcomes. I don't know why I keep doing this, but it's fun. And by
you
the
got
way,
sound effects today.
Yeah,
you should come
right.
back more often, Dan. You can be our sound effects guy.
And by the way, that is something to keep in mind. This ought to be fun.
Right.
You know, if you think about it, we live in the United States of America. And I bet every one of you has carpet in your house. You know, this is kind of,
True.
this is fun. This is play money. I mean, let's just go and rock and roll. Someone could say, yes, okay, you know what? There's so many opportunities. There's so many things out there. Enjoy it. And by the way, if you get shot down, you need good stories to tell your grandchildren, don't you? When I was a kid, my dad used to, in New York City, I would go to the top of the building and work my way down the whole way there. Sometimes I'd be 100 people. Azoy. That's how my dad used to do that. Daddy. I actually had an issue a couple of weeks ago. I was at a prison doing something, you know, it was a halfway house. And so they're working into the community and I had nothing to relate to these people. And so I channeled my dad and because, you know, they've been through hellacious things, whatever. And here I am, I'm going to come there and say, you can do it. You know, they, you know, put a knife in me. I don't know what and so, so I started the thing and I said, you think you guys got it bad? Let me tell you about the Holocaust. And I started telling some stories that my dad told me, because one day I was having a bad day. And I was probably about 13 because my dad didn't want to share this probably before he thought I could handle it. And so I'm about 30, I'm having a bad day. What's wrong with you? Well, I'm having a bad day. I can't. He says, really? Let me ask you this. Did you ever have a day when and then he started like recounting all sorts of things. Anyway, the end of the story is, at least in America, they don't throw babies in the air and catch them on pitchforks. And then he walked out of the room and I'm like, you know, sales is fun. Somebody says no to you. I mean, listen, lighten up.
Great
But
point.
you owe it, by the way, all you people out there who are, you know, older and having challenges, finding jobs and finding work and things like that. You owe it to yourself and your family to give it 100%, to do the uncomfortable things, because you've been given you've won the lottery. You're born here. You're in America. That's what my dad was trying to share. There's no excuses. Just go after it.
That's a great point. Tim, you want to ask the next question?
Sure. But before I do that, I want to thank you for watching. And we want you guys, if you have any questions for Dan, please put them down below in the comments. We'd be happy to have Dan answer them for you. And we want to thank over on LinkedIn, Gary Casey. Hello. Thank you for being here. Pete Kane, Chris Stone. Lots of comments. People are loving the conversation. So Dan, how do you close your first sale anyway?
How do you, well, you have to ask for the order. And it's one of those things that people, and I'll teach you how to ask for the order very easily, that you don't have to feel like a used car salesman in 1977. And we used to call it trial closes, you know, fair enough. How's that sound? All that stuff. But you have to finish whatever you say after you give your presentation. So after all is said and done, what will happen for your business is in 6 months from now, you'll have a system for sales that is going to give you the best closing ratio in the industry. You're going to have a sales team that is going to be loyal and well trained. Your business value will be double than it is right today, and you'll have more time to spend with your family and your family and friends. How's that sound? And they say, sounds good. Great. Well, all we need to do is to get started is to fill out a little paperwork here. But I understand, and just please understand, it's okay to say no to me if it's not something that you're interested in. Just hit them right over the face with, it's okay to say no to me. Give them an out and let them go. So I totally understand. It's not for everybody. Just feel comfortable in saying no to me. And just sit there and wait for the answer. And it's very important for you. And once you get your pitch right, that you're going to do that whole thing talking about outcomes. And so I didn't tell you I didn't say, what we can do is this, what we can do is this, what we can do. I didn't say the word I once. Here's something that anybody can ask. There's 3 words that repel people from you. And those words are I, we, and us. But conversely, there's 3 words that attract people to you. And you spoke of that earlier about attracting your first customer. And those words are you, yours, and we're in the South. So I add y'all. But I sound very Southern, don't I? So you listen. So at the end of our engagement, what you can expect to happen is this, 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 and this. And if you want, add a guarantee onto that. All we need to do is get started. Can you think of, here's a good close. Can you think of any reason why we shouldn't get started today? And if you have any, please let me know. And just ask for it. Now, do that 20 times this month. Just do that 20 times this month. Know your message, know the outcomes, know the perfect client, and give your pitch and ask for the order 20 times this month. You've got yourself a new customer.
This is great stuff. I mean, what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I totally agree. And that asking part, I think, is something that people grapple with, not even just in sales, but also in marketing. Actually, obviously you have to make the ask to get a sale, but taking that step, asking for, even if it's a call to action or whatever that next step is, I think that's a great point.
Well, everything has to have, you're going to get, at the end of any sales call, you can have one of 3 answers, a yes or no, or, some sort of, I need to think about it. But if you set it up at the beginning, the proper way, you can get that clear future, what it is. All I want is a clear future. So now if somebody says, well, let me back up. What you want to do at the beginning is, they're thinking, the first thing everybody's thinking about is money. Right? How much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
And so my suggestion and what I tell my people and how we train the teams with Sales Arbiter is to bring it out on the front end. And by the front end, I mean at the beginning, after you talk, hey guys, I really appreciate this meeting with you. I just want to let you know with this presentation, we'll go through it and I'll ask you a few questions. If it's something that's really good for you, I'm going to ask you to buy it. But if it's not right for you, if it's not a good fit, I'll let you know that too. Fair enough? See, now both of you just nodded your head.
You got us going, right?
Right. Fair enough. Okay. And before we go on, does anybody else need to be on this call to make a decision? Or you're the ones who do this?
We're the ones.
You're the one? Great. Okay. Well, I got to ask you, is it okay to talk about money?
Sure.
Okay. Boom. And that's where I'm going to take it right there. I'm going to talk about money right now. I said, for our services is anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000 a month. Is that something, assuming you love it, is that something you guys think you can afford right now? Mm-hmm. And I'm asking a question. So boom, if you said no right there, we're going to move in a completely different direction than if you said yes.
Right.
But if you did say yes, and you probably say something like, well, I don't even know what you serve. I said, perfect. Well, I got it. But if you did love it at the end, after this entire presentation, couldn't live without it, those types of numbers that you think you can afford. If you did get 20 to 30 meetings a week, like we're promising, I'm just making this up. But is that something that you think you can afford? Would that be cost effective for you? And once you say yes, now we have a framework. I know you're the decision maker. I know you have a desire, and I know you have the money. Now you've earned the right for a presentation. And all during the presentation, I'm going to be giving you your objections. You know, I totally understand when you're making a decision like this, you would need to think about it. Right. So what I'll say, you know, usually when people say I think about it, it's for two reasons. Either they think they're not interested at all, or you think we're a good fit, but you have some concerns. Which one of those two is it? You could role play with me, guys. Come on.
Tim, what do you think?
What were the options again?
Either you're not interested at all, or you're interested but have some concerns.
I have some concerns.
Got it. Well, listen, usually when people say they have some concerns, it's for three reasons. And I call them the 3 Fs. Either we're not a good fit and you know, guys don't like me and you can't work with me. And that's okay. Is that the case?
Yes. Can't stand you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that would be the problem, but just play along with it because I want to get the 3 Fs in. Not for you, but for the benefit of all our listeners who are here right now.
Yes.
Okay. And the second is, okay, then it must be some feature. Maybe there was something I didn't share with you, or there was something you were thinking about that we didn't go over. Is there any other features that we're missing in this program?
No.
Okay, well, then I
got the features.
Okay, great. Then I got to assume that it's the finances or the money. And so is that the issue right now? And then so we're smoking out the right objection. The point is, I'm prepared for, let me think about it. Right. And for you, the consultant or the person who's getting started and you're on this first sales call, you know you're going to get a few objections. It's just like if you're on an interview, you know for a fact someone's going to say to you, tell me about yourself. Baby, if you're not prepared for tell me about yourself, you know, but if you're a salesperson now and a marketer now, and you're not prepared for, so tell me what you really do for me or how you can benefit me, or I need to think about it, or the price objection. If you're not prepared for that, you're not ready. You're not a pro. And how you get all those things? It's by cold calling, talking to a lot of people, and experience and stuff. You could learn 10 times more from your prospects in no time than you can from some blowhard like me telling you. You don't get great by learning how to be great. You get great by doing. And so if I could give any advice on anybody who wants to get into this and really do, man, just jump in there and get punched in the face a little bit. You'll enjoy it.
Troy had a question. He said, Dan, have you ever turned a no into a yes? And I think I know the answer.
Well, what about my wife? Okay. Also, when yeah. Oh, by the way, I took a Dale Carnegie course once, and I'm going to answer your question, Troy, but this story is too good, so I got to do this too. So I took a Dale Carnegie course, and they were telling us how to overcome objections. And we were going on vacation, and I wanted to take the bicycles and put it on the roof of the car. And my wife's like, "No, we're not putting the bicycles on the roof of the car." And I said, "Well, you know," I said, "let me practice my skills." So I said, "Listen, I totally understand. If I were you, I'd probably say the same thing. But let me ask you this. What's the actual, issue that you have with putting the bicycles on the roof of the car?" And she said, "I don't want it to get scratched up." I said, "Got it. Is there anything else aside from the scratches?" She says, "No." And I said, "Okay, so if there was some way that I could hermetically seal the roof of the car, put a giant rubber thing on the whatever, it was just physically impossible for the car to get scratched, you'd be okay with me bringing the bicycles, right?" And she says, "No." And we went on and on. And I wasn't able to do it. So finally, I go back to my teacher over at Dale Carnegie, and I told him the story. And he says this to me. I'll never forget it. He goes, "You tried this crap on your wife? This doesn't work on your wife." So some things don't work. All right. So have I ever turned a no into a yes? I'll do the same story. And you've done it too. When I came to Atlanta in 1994, I came to visit a friend. He took me to some party, met some girl, blonde hair, Southern accent, bakes pies. I'm thinking this place is great, you know. So I went back home, moved here 2 weeks later to Atlanta. I moved 2 weeks later to Atlanta. Asked the girl to go out with me. Troy, she said no. Apparently, she had some boyfriend. But I moved here, and so I'm not ready to give up yet. So the next week, I called her up again. She said, no, are you nuts? I have a boyfriend. Got it. So I kept upping the offer and increasing the value. 6 months, finally 6 months, 26 times I asked. Upon the 27th time I asked this girl out, she finally agreed to go out with me. And she actually did become my wife. We've been married for 24 years and 2 kids, yet to have a bad day. By the way, she hasn't baked a pie since, I'll tell you that. But I asked her why she eventually decided to go out with me. And she said something that I've kept with me forever. And this might be your answer, Troy. She says, I figured if you were willing to work this hard to get me, you'd be willing to work equally as hard to keep me.
Wow.
It's flattering when you really want something badly and you're willing to do the extra effort to get them. And that's in a job, and that's it. So I've been able to turn no's into yeses. I mean, not hell no's into yeses, but she kept saying no, 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 which I took as not now, because she never really said, get the hell away from me, I'm calling the cops. That probably would have done it. Someone else had a question there.
Yes, Chris Stone wanted to know, can you share what you're telling consultants and business owners during this stage of the pandemic?
Oh, great. That guy's brilliant, Chris Stone. That's a good question. Yes. Here's what's going on. Consultants, this is the time to reach out to your customers and be that positive shining light in that, in the world of darkness that they're hearing from the news all the time. It's your job to call all your business owners and everybody and just lend an ear to them. How are you handling this? What's going on? What are your issues? Find out what their problems are. Each time you ask a question to them, they're going to be giving you their problems. Each problem that they give you is an area that you can solve. It's an area that you can help and provide that value. So if there was a way that we could coordinate your sales team and get them all together on the same page and doing stuff without them having to see each other, would that be something that could help you guys if you could do it in a cost-effective way? And all of a sudden you're selling, streaming services to them, and you're not selling it as much as they're buying it. They need it. A salesperson or a consultant is basically a leader, and salespeople that manipulate people into doing what they want, it's a losing battle, and it's not really a good life. By the way, if you want to give a good sales life, you got to buy my book, Sales Proverbs, Wisdom of the Ages. Only sales proverbs. Go on Amazon, and we should offer some sort of special. I'll think of it as I'm talking here. But a salesperson that manipulates people fights a losing battle and is always under pressure and get ulcers. A salesperson that comes up with real solutions for their customers, knows their customers' goals and dreams, and works towards that and helping them doing that, doesn't. There's 2 ways to be a leader. One, you could be authoritarian and you could do it by force, and the other way is to guide people to the right decision. And so if you point out enough pains that they're having, enough trouble that they're having, when you offer the solution, it's not like you're selling them anything. It's that they're being led to make the right decision. And ultimately, that's what a consultant is. That's what you are. That's what they're buying. So you don't got to worry about selling. Worry about what they're buying. And they're buying these, solutions to this major problem right now. This without sounding crass, and not being so overly glasses half full type of thing, this is a tremendous opportunity for people who want to be consultants because you are problem solvers. And so speak to that. Let them complain. You be the answer, and they will seek you out. That's how you attract.
And I think, Tim, you and I both, I know, have had people reaching out to us saying, hey, can you help me figure out how to get my business on video right now, because whether it's live streaming, as an example, someone later, I'm going to be helping them record a session in their gym so they can share with their members, because the gym is closed, but they still want to provide value to their members and make them know that they're thinking about them. And, 2 months ago, we would have never thought that this would have been a problem.
Well, and the people that do it now will have a leg up against the people that aren't even trying it at all. So they're doing the right thing. By the way, you could utilize Rich Hart Studios, which is awesome for this. They have great, a great environment to do this stuff. By the way, I'm doing a live stream on Thursday.
Yes.
At 4 p.m. And we're going to talk about some mildly controversial topic about gender stuff in the workplace. And I think it'll be great, especially in this environment, how to take care of things. So it'll be fun. And I run the risk of being wrong.
So Tim, you want to ask what we got time for one more question here?
Sure. So Dan, how can we continue to grow our consulting business?
Okay. Well, remember this. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not climbing, you're sliding. And so it's got to be a constant push, and it has to be consistently generating new leads and new processes. So if you are the consultant and that's what you do best, then you have to do that. You'll get some business from your internal people. I'm dealing with one client who does supply chain consulting, and they get a lot of business from their existing clients, but they need to get outside business coming in. So how you do that? You do what you do well, and you hire people to do the other stuff. If you don't have the money right now to be a great marketer or a great salesperson, then you get somebody to do it for you. If you don't have the cash on hand, just give them a monstrous commission. I'm talking like 50%. But if you do that, if you get a partner who's going to work who's just going to get 50% of what you do, I know it's a great deal for the salesperson, because, after they sell a few deals for you, they're just collecting without doing anything, but it gets you off the ground, and then you can start working internally with your people. So there are people out there that can do that. I can help you with that. Go to my website, danjordan.com, subscribe to my podcast, The Sales Energizer, which you'll love, and it'll give you plenty of ideas. But if stay in your lane, stay in your lane. If you're a consultant and you do grass with customers, get a salesperson to do it for you, but you got to pay them to make it worth their while.
These are all great points. I've really enjoyed having you on today, Dan, and I've been enjoying your show as well. It's always comical, and I'm glad to see that Chris has really upped your audio and visual today. You look great. You almost look as good as Tim.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he just had a birthday. He turned 50.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right. So
yes, that's right. So that's why this
no
show
one can look as good as that, or look as good as you guys, because you got brick behind you. Is that real brick, or is it a wallpaper?
It's vinyl from Amazon.
Vinyl brick.
Vinyl brick, even better than paper brick. So I can wash it when I throw beer on it. But I didn't do that yet.
Well, you guys are doing a really great job. You've inspired, I think, countless people to do this. But you got to get me on this LinkedIn stuff. How do you get on LinkedIn and I can't do it? Gosh, you got like a secret in.
I think we
have you applied?
45 times have I applied.
Keep applying.
Yes, I will.
It's coming, Dan. And we're happy to, we can have you again sometime. We can have you on again, or
I'm only coming on.
And Chris and I are talking about doing some stuff here locally, that we can get some folks. We'll do some more live streams using LinkedIn maybe at some venues once we can leave our houses. So
yeah, you can come to the venue, come to the Rich Hart's place right here. I'll hook you up.
Yes. I think that would be awesome. So Dan, thank you so much for coming. So best way to obviously connect with you. You got your YouTube channel. You've got your podcast. danjordan.com is your website. And then we'll put in the notes of the show later, your book link as well. If people want check
Yeah,
that out.
here's the deal. If you're listening to this now, and here's the deal, what we do is go ahead and buy the book for $12.95 on Amazon. It'll change your life. And if you send me the receipt, email me the receipt, I'll give you a 29-minute coaching session, just one-on-one, just you and the Deej, and we're gonna work out your message to your right marketplace, and we'll figure out we'll script you so you can get the right way to get in touch with people. For $12.90, I normally charge $500, but for you, the avid listeners of the Jim and Tim show, a mere $12.95 gets you 29 minutes with the Deej.
There you go. Steve Taylor says,
Awesome.
keep applying. Persistence pays. And I know Troy says you're on fire today, which I would agree. This has been a great episode. I think hopefully too, for our viewers from the comments I've seen, the folks on LinkedIn, you're really helping people, keep their energy up and know that we can all move forward. And, there's plenty of room for collaboration to help each other grow our businesses.
That's it. Well, I'm only doing this again with you if Troy's with us, because that guy's a rock star. And just remember, as far as the energy, it's all about the drugs. All right. You guys are done.
All right. Tim, who's coming next week?
Oh, I have no idea. Who is coming next week?
Christabel's coming next week.
Oh, Christabel. Sorry.
That's right.
And she's going to talk about messenger marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. So join us next Wednesday at noon, same time, same place, same, hopefully, energy.
And tomorrow, Tim and I will actually be on Ian Anderson's Gray Show at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And
Excited.
I believe we'll be on all the socials.
All the places.
All the places. So we hope to see you guys then. And then tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, watch Dan's show on Facebook and on YouTube live. I always enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
It is.